What's up guys, and welcome to episode 22 of Building a Clone Base. In today's episode we have a ton of things to get into, so I'm gonna quickly run over all the little things that we will be working on. We're gonna need to finish off these patches, because these ones aren't as detailed as the one over there, so that's one thing on our bucket list for today. Moving further along, we want to add a lot more life and detail to the bushes, the trees, etc. Trying to finish off those sections. Got a couple ideas that I want to work with, so you'll see that in a couple of seconds. And then, like, the main thing about this episode is that we want to add quite a couple explosions on the outside of the mock. Because we figured a base is under attack, there needs to be some action, and what's cooler than a hyena bombing run happening right in front of your eyes. So that's something that we'll be working on. And then lastly, there's a really cool sneaky thing that I will be working on in the beginning of this episode, to add that wow factor to the mock. So without anything else to say, I'm gonna start working on that thing. So guys, as you can see, we're now at my place. I'm making some final preparations before a very special stream. As you can see, I have 3 packages right here. I already opened them up, so that will save some trouble. So let's quickly get into them and what they are. So there are 3 really small packages. As you can see, this is all that is in the first one. Just some Technic paints, a bit of dark red, and then some light gray snot bricks. That's basically all that's in this order. Then the second one, we have something that's not related for tonight's build, with just some nice plant pieces that I wanted to get. Then we have these 2 red bricks. They're all that I needed for this order. The rest is just to fill it up to cut down on the shipping costs. Then we have the third package. This one is the biggest one. It's still not that big, but it's something. First up we have a Republic symbol. It's not a sticker, I think, but a printed piece, so that's really nice to have. Needed it for this build. And then we have a bunch of stuff. I really like this packaging, just said that you can't reseal it. But yeah, we have some slopes but the other version. Then we have this special piece, which I didn't have in my collection and I really needed to finish off this build. We have these, they're like a metallic color, also didn't have them, never actually heard of the piece, so I'm glad to have a couple of these. And then these 3 big Technic pieces that I really needed for the build. You guys probably wondering what the build is gonna be. I guess from the title, most of you guys already know what it is. It's the UTAT from Tony Hardy. I already sorted out a bunch of the pieces. I will grab them right now. So I sorted them in this bin, and then this big package with some less sorted out stuff. But yeah, that's it gonna be it. I will add these pieces real quick, and then I'm gonna set up the stream and time-lapse the build. Hope you guys enjoy it. So now we just placed the UT80 on the mock, and as you guys can see, it fits nicely in between the road. And as I said in the introduction of the video, we want to do a bombing run, and the nicest thing that came to mind with the bombing run was letting the UT80 be completely destroyed by one of the bombs that hits it. So the idea is basically that there's gonna be like a bomb penetrating the armor around this section, and we'll have like a big fireball. We'll try to hide a couple of cables underneath this so that we can have some lights in this and it can look really cool. And then the bombing run basically moves along this whole string, going for the village and hitting the village as well. Like you guys saw in the time lapse, I came up with a little bit of a bush design for some extra nice details in the mock. Made one with a tree coming out of it, and then one with just the purple details that I've been using throughout all the little plants. I feel like this works really well, and it will add that little extra detail that these areas need on the ground. Like, it's looking really good for now, but I felt like it was a bit too bare bone, and yeah, I just like the way that this is turning out. I already made like a little extra one over here, and it adds just so much little extra details to the mock that I'm really happy with the way that this is turning out. So I'm gonna try to cover all of that with some more of those little bushes to get the extra details going, guys. As promised, I did some more work off camera and I hope that you guys like the result. Of course, these two were already finished. Then we had this beautiful section with those new plant pieces into them. Also went ahead and did the other half of that little area, and of course I did this one and these two little patches. I feel like these are turning out really nicely. I also went ahead and use those leaf pieces in the trees, and I think it looks really nicely done. I kept one normal because, you know, I want you guys' opinion if you like this more than this, or you will want this one in more areas. Because like I can make this one in the other version as well. If you guys prefer it, just let me know in the comment section. And with that all being done, basically the whole plant area is finished. I only need to do those trees, but those are so cool and big that I figured that I'm gonna leave that till the end of the series to get an extra little wow factor in. So I'm not gonna finish off the canopies for these trees just yet. Now I'm going to the design table and you can follow me. Let's go! Coming over to our design table, you can see that I laid out a bunch of different pieces that we can use to make our explosions. I'm not gonna go over everything, but as you guys can see, we got some bars, we got a lot of different colors. I got myself quite a couple different types of dish pieces as well. And as you guys can see, I got yellow, I got orange, I got red. I even went for some blues and greens for in case you want to get some very hot explosions, like for example maybe some fuel canisters being exploded. I feel like those colors will work out really well to translate that. For now, I'm just gonna start experimenting with all these different pieces and I'll let you guys see what I come up with. So guys, I just did a bit of experimenting and this is basically what I've come up with so far. Over here, the first one is basically when the explosion from the hyena hasn't completely been detonated yet, and you see like the first bit of detonation, but there's also a large part still left of the explosion. Then we have the second version. Here you can see that it's almost completely gone and there's like the start of an explosion. But first, like, you know, there's a big fireball happening, but it's not going everywhere just yet. So that's basically what I tried to mimic with this design. And then the third one is like more full on, there's flames going out of different areas. I'd most likely stick a couple parts of debris on the outside, make it look a bit more energetic and animated. And that's like a bit of the evolution that I'm going for. So yeah, let's get over to the mock and I'll show where those explosions would most likely be going. So being over at the village, you can kind of get an idea of what I'm intending to go for. First one is the still really small, not completely detonated version, and I figured that I want to get it like in the tower or maybe on the side of the building, like it's just getting into it, just hit it, and it's starting to explode. I think that's gonna look pretty nice. Then over here I want to have the second one that's almost completely inside of it. Like almost completely, the explosion is almost completely inside of the fireball. I want that one to be in the old building. I think that's gonna look rather nicely. Then over here we are gonna have a somewhat bigger explosion. Then where this black little piece is, there is gonna be an even larger one. And then over here inside the UTAT, I want to have the biggest explosion. I'm not completely certain how we're gonna do it just yet, but I think it would be nice if we maybe have like the bomb drop inside and then like detonate completely on the inside, and we have like one side bursting out or something. I'm definitely gonna have the top side explode, and as you guys can see, like have some big strings with some parts of the UTAT attached to it, so that it looks like a really cool fireball explosion. So yeah, that's basically everything that I can talk about, and now I'm just gonna continue building and trying to get as much of this stuff done as I can. So here's a little idea of how the bombing run is gonna look. As you guys can see, this one isn't finished just yet, but it's looking rather nice already. I'll be working a bit more on it and make sure to finish it completely by the end of this episode. Then we have a little bit of a downgrade in size. We have a smaller explosion over here, and this trend continues with an even smaller one over there. Then the first building that's gonna be blown up, I still need to make that explosion, so that one is gonna be seen later in this episode. And then over there, as you guys can see, we have one explosion that just detonated, so it isn't going full crazy just yet, it's just a little fireball that's happening. Now I'm gonna take a little break from all of these explosions and I will focus myself on this area of the mock. We need to recreate these nice little details in the patches over on this less interesting side. So yeah, let's get into a little time lapse, guy. Took myself a little break from the front area of the mock and worked on another area. And I wanted to show you guys the progress that I made in the village. As of before, the village was quite empty and boring, and I figured that it's a village from people who live on a planet that are perhaps war refugees that are trying to get closer to the protection from the Republic by getting really close to a clone-based settlement on the surface of the planet. So it needed to look a bit more gritty. Like, the people have only been living here for a couple of months, nothing has been done properly. Like, for example, we have here a little backup generator. We have cabling going to satellites, because for us even having satellites is like a basic necessity, so I figured having space, it would probably be something along those lines as well. Then we have a ton of little barrels and crates. We'll still need to fill these, but we're not sure yet with what to fill these. So I left them empty for now, but like, it gets the idea across a bit better. Then over here on the other area, we also figured that they needed a couple of things. One being electricity, and we got that over there. And the other thing, of course, they need water. Since there's a river running right next to this, we thought, what's more logic than having a couple of water barrels over here. We have one that's open so that it gives a clearer view of what's supposed to be inside of the barrels. And then we have one with a little bucket right underneath it, where there's water coming into the bucket, signifying that the people can come from their home with the bucket over to the big water canisters, and they can fill their little bucket, go back to their houses and enjoy the water that they got. This isn't for now, it's looking really nice, but like, nothing is permanent. If you guys have any suggestions, or you think, you might need to upgrade this or add this, we're always happy to listen. We are already thinking of adding like a little light to this big lantern, because it just makes sense to have a light in there. But yeah, that's basically how the village is looking for now. If you guys have any suggestions, let us know, and we're gonna continue building on the explosions. Just did some more work on the UT-80 explosion, and I think that this is the end result for this one. It's a rather large one. Like, the main idea that I had was that the hyena bomber explosion went inside, detonated, and then caused a little chain reaction on the inside of the build. Like, one side is completely coming out with debris flying out of it, and then on the other side you can see that there is just a really big explosion from where the bomb impacted first. I think that is gonna look really nice inside the mock, so let's put the AT UT at its final resting place. With that final tedious little job done, we have basically done everything on the outside that we wanted to do. Over on the right side you guys can see we finished off these patches. We added the final little details that we wanted to add, as well as adding quite a few more of these alien plant leaves to really make this area neat and tidy. I think it came out really well. Now all that is left is for us to do some minifig placement on this side of the mock. Moving on to the other plant section, we added these cool looking shrubs. I feel like these add quite a lot to the mock. Over there you can also see how good that turned out. Being on that area of the side of the mock, you can also see that we did quite a lot of work on our village. It's looking way better right now. I'm gonna change up a couple things off camera for future episodes because we aren't completely happy with the end result, but it's looking so much better now. If I come around, you can really see the little details that we added and just how everything is coming along really nice. And then of course, the final big thing that we did this episode is add the UTAT and the hyena bombing run. I really think that you can see what we went for. Like if you start from the first explosion, going to the last explosion, you can really see that it's following a nice line, like a straight pattern of a plane flying overhead and dropping his payload. I think this turned out really nicely. Of course, we have the biggest one over here, really dready, and yeah, I like the way that this one turned out. And then when we move over, they always get a little smaller because the detonation hasn't been going on for as long. Yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out, guys. Of course, there's one thing missing, and that is the big trees. I did actually build those completely, but I feel like it's a nice little surprise for whenever the finale comes out, so I won't be showing them today. But with that all being done, you might think, what's next for the building series? Well, you see these explosions and you think, they look kinda cool, but they need something extra. And that extra little thing is, of course, lights. So next week's episode, we will be lighting up this whole area. We'll be adding lights in every single one of these explosions, as well as some extra lights in the village, because light means life and there's life in the village, so we need a couple extra lights in that section. And when we do that, this whole area will be finished. And then we'll just start working again on the inside of the mock. So the week after the lights episode, we'll be building on the inside of this clone base again. So I hope that you guys are gonna enjoy these next couple episodes. And without anything further to do, guys, have a nice day, enjoy the rest of it, and see you next time on Building a Clone Base.